Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's Divine Destiny. Today we're going to be talking about what really happened to Moses after the Red Sea. What happened to Moses after the Red Sea was just diabolical. Let me just tell you, because these people will put him through horrible, horrible situations. And despite going through all of those things to get those people out of a terrible situation, he ended up not being able to go to the land of milk and honey that he worked so hard for. It is just so unfortunate. And all he got to see was, like, he got to stand on the mountain and see basically what he was missing. It sucks. It's such a terrible, terrible situation. Let me just go back to the beginning. So what really happened afterwards? What happened afterwards was the Israelites complained nonstop, okay, about food, about water, about everything. You know, they probably even complained about the distance that they were walking. They complained about everything. And it drove Moses crazy. It drove Moses crazy. Did I say Moses or Noah in the beginning? The truth about Moses after the Red Sea. I said Moses, right? Moses. I think I said Moses. I get him and Noah mixed up. I don't know why. But anyways, Moses went through a lot during that time because they were complaining a lot about water, about food, about everything. Okay, they probably even complained about the heat. I'm thinking about, like, if I was walking, I'd have probably been complaining about the heat and maybe walking. I don't think I would have complained about food and water because, you know, eventually, you know, I would have learned to fast and things like that. I would have took an opportunity to fast, but, you know, that's just me. They complained and complained, and after a while, obviously God gave them what they wanted. He gave them food and water and everything, but it was never enough. Like, after everything, even after getting them out of a terrible situation, even after parting the Red Sea, even after all the plagues that happened, I mean, not the plagues, was it plagues? All of the terrible things that God brought to Egypt because Egypt wouldn't let the people go. After all of that, okay, Moses holding his arms up, they decided to basically build a golden calf and worship a golden calf, even after God showed them all his power. And this is what I'm saying. And this kind of ties into, like, it doesn't really matter if God shows you all the power. Let's say he just shows you, like, amazing things. It doesn't really matter if he shows you that if you don't have a heart for God in the first place. Straight up. If you don't have a heart for God in the first place, then it won't matter how much things that he shows you, you will never and scientists wonder why God doesn't reveal himself to them. Scientists wonder why they've never seen, like, examples of God, and you know what I'm saying? Even though it's all around us, really, it's all around us. That's the reason. If you want to see all of the miracles, look all around us. Nature, the fact that you have breath in your lungs, that should be enough. But you know what? The reason why he's not doing something so huge is the fact that, like, even if he did something like that, you still wouldn't believe because you don't have a heart for God. If you don't have a heart for God, it doesn't matter what he shows you. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. So these people, and keep in mind, these people had more hope and belief and faith in God when they were going through captivity, long suffering. They had more faith in God during captivity when they never saw any of the plagues that God brought on Egypt. Before they saw any of it, they had more faith in God then than they had after he showed all of those things. And yet, it doesn't matter what he shows you, because if you don't have a heart for him, like if you don't have a heart for God, it doesn't matter how many great things he could show you. It won't matter, because I'm sorry guys, I'm doing this off of my iPad. It doesn't matter what he shows you, because you don't have a heart for God. So he could show you a bunch of things. Excuse me. He could show you a bunch of things, and it wouldn't matter, because you just don't have you don't have a love for God. So yeah, so they complained a lot, even after God did all of these great things in front of them, parted the Red Sea in front of them, you know, even after him bringing them water through a rock, you know, him bringing them food. It still didn't matter, and they still complained, and they still worshipped a golden calf, which Aaron worked side by side with Moses. He worked with Moses personally. That was his brother. And he was one of the people holding up Moses' arm. He built a golden calf. Aaron built a golden calf and allowed the people to worship the golden calf, even despite seeing all of the great things that God did. And in the end, it made, okay, I'm not even going to go in the end. Before that, it made Noah angry. I mean, it made Moses, why do I keep on saying Noah? Moses. It made Moses angry, because after doing all of this, after seeing all the great things that God did through Moses, they still had doubts. They still wanted to worship other things, and it just didn't make any sense to me. It makes sense as to why it makes sense as to why Moses was angry. So it makes sense why he was so angry. So after that, honestly, God was angry before that, because God could see them. God saw them and what they were doing. And Moses tried to tell him, like, you know, tried to, you know, ask God for mercy on them. And then Moses saw what they were doing, and then he ended up slaughtering all of them, which in turn, it actually prevented him from ever being able to go into the land of milk and honey, which is what he worked for this whole time. He worked throughout all of that, everything that he went through. It was also that he can get to the land of milk and honey. And because they drove him to such fierce anger, it prevented him from being able to go into the land of milk and honey. But also, if you look in the past, okay, because Moses is from the Levites. Moses is from the Levite group, brother. Let me put I'm putting this on because I don't want my lips to get chapped. Moses is from the Levites. And if you guys I don't know if you guys remember the story in the Old Testament. You should read up on that, because it's actually pretty interesting. The Levites and Simeon's descendants and Levi's descendants have this uncontrollable anger and rage when it comes to their anger. It, you know, they have this uncontrollable anger. I'm going to say it's uncontrollable, because how you killed all those people, I don't even know. But my point is, Moses came from Levi. Levi and Simeon, if you go back in Genesis, Levi and Simeon were angry because there was a prince that raped their sister. And because they were so angry, and back then if you raped their a woman in a man's family, you know, that was seen as great disrespect. Like you're not only disrespecting her, but you're also disrespecting the men in their family. So Simeon and Levi came together. They ended up killing an entire city. They ended up killing an entire city of men, the guards, everyone. They killed the entire city of men. I think they left the women. Yeah, I think they left the women alone. But still, they killed an entire city of men and rescued their sister from the guy. And they basically did it all because they felt like they were being dishonored. They were being disrespected, you know, because I'm pretty sure it says in the Bible, the woman is the glory of the man. But that's not even the point. That's not even over there. My point is they were disrespected. They had this uncontrollable anger, and they went through the city and killed everyone on behalf of their sister that was raped. So it is said that the descendants, you know, the blessings that were giving, that were passed down to each generation, they carry on into the next generation and they keep on going. So Moses is from the Levites. Moses had that anger in him because of his ancestor, Levi, who had this uncontrollable anger and rage and killed the whole city of men with his brother. So yeah, Simeon was supposed to be the older brother along with Reuben, but Reuben ended up losing his older brother right because he slept with one of his father's concubine, and then Simeon ended up joining Levi and killing a whole group of people. So a whole kingdom, a whole city of people. So, yeah, that's the reason. But I just wanted to explain that really quick. But that's the reason why. That's the reason why Moses had that anger in him. He didn't know it at the time, but that's the reason why. It's literally coming from the ancestors. It passed down from generation to generation. It also applies to everything. So, for example, you know, when it comes to Esau was basically, you know, he lived by the sword. So his blessing was basically that he lives by the sword. And it's said that his descendants today still live by the sword. They go in raping, pillaging, murdering everyone, just to get what they want. And they don't really care who they have to kill to do it. But that's the blessing that was over them from generations and generations. It was passed down. The blessing was passed down. That's how strong God's power is. Can you see that? Okay? Because you can pray over someone and the blessing will literally pass down all the way to generation. That's how far the blessings can go. God's power is amazing. I'm just saying. But back to what I was saying. Even this is what I truly believe that this is, like, no one could tell me otherwise. The descendants of Ishmael, it said that they were wild men and things like that, right? The descendants of Ishmael are the people in the Middle East. They are the descendants of Ishmael. So, I mean, it makes sense why, you know, they have such serious laws. It makes sense why they have such, you know, serious religious beliefs. It makes sense why they're willing to, like, you know, go to war and, you know, stand their ground and die for the cause. Because the blessing that was over them from when they were young carried on. It carried on from generation to generation, and it's in their bloodline. It's just in them. You know, it's a part of who they are now. That blessing that was over them, it's just part of them. And it's the same thing with Jacob. Jacob got the better end of the blessing when it came to the blessing that he got from his father, because he tricked his father into blessing him instead of Esau. He got the better end of it. So I mean, like, his descendants, obviously they're gonna go through hard, long suffering, but they went through it and they're still going through it. Let me just tell you, they're still going through it. Okay, they're gonna be out soon, but you know, they're still going through it. So, eventually they're gonna get everything that they were promised in that blessing. Okay, they're gonna get everything that they were promised, and you know, blessed in the city, blessed in the field, and all that other good stuff. So yeah, but Moses didn't know it at the time, but that's the reason why he was that's the reason why he had that anger to kill all those people. And you gotta remember, he killed thousands of people. Thousands. He went through thousands of people. Him and all the people who decided that they were choosing God over worshiping another God. Which most people would be like, okay, they're choosing you over, so they're slaughtering all the people, but at the same time, those are still his people. And not to mention, like, revenge is not ours, it's the Lord's. You can't get revenge. I'm realizing that now too, that like, revenge is not yours, it's the Lord's, and it's literally something that he takes seriously. I'm thinking like, okay, like, revenge is his, but at the same time, like, maybe he's a little bit lenient with this, but no, he's not lenient with it at all. It's almost like he will be angry with you, the fact that you got revenge when revenge is his to get. So it's for him to dish out, not for people. And not to mention, we're not in the place to even do that, because we've all sinned. We've all fallen short. So who are you to get revenge when at the same time, what you did to him, what you did to that person, you deserve yourself. What you did to that person for sinning, you deserve yourself, because no sin is better than the other. You sinned, and whatever you decide that you know, there is righteous judgment. Now, there's not to say that there isn't righteous judgment. There is righteous judgment, but revenge is not ours to dish out. It is God's. And just as personal as the blessings are, is just as personal as the punishment is. So maybe God he's the perfect person to dish out a punishment. It's not for a human being to decide what the punishment will be. So yeah, revenge is the Lord's. So that's part of the reason why, that's why I think that's part of the reason why revenge is the Lord's. We don't have the authority to dish out revenge, or to get revenge, or to punish people. The Lord should be the one to do that. They're his people, you know? And not to mention, like, it's also the fact that, you know, after Moses killed all those people, he had all this blood on his hands. Him and all the people who fought, which were mainly the adults. So now so then he was like, basically all the children will go into the land of milk and honey, but all the adults that have blood on their hands, which is most of them, almost all of them. If if they didn't have blood on their hands, it was probably one of the people who decided that they didn't want to worship God anymore, which is crazy. They didn't want to serve God. Like, how you get to decide that, like, I don't even know. To me, I think that's a little insane. But yeah, don't worry about my hair, guys. It looks a little crazy right now because I gotta get my hair done again. But this is what it's looking like. I know it's looking a little crazy. I'm about to start sculpting. I'm about to start hair sculpting. But anyways, yeah. That's what happened, and after the Red Sea. And Moses basically never got to see all of the work. He got to see it, but he never got to get the fruits of his labor because he killed all of those people. And he had a lot of blood on his hands. Him and all the adults, basically. So, yeah. And all of them ended up dying in the forest, dying in the wilderness. And yeah. Some of them tried to go, and a lot of them ended up dying, and then they ran back, you know. So it was a whole thing. So that's what happened afterwards. And it was a terrible, terrible situation. And I really feel bad for Moses because he worked so hard and he followed God and he tried to do everything right. And he even tried to do right by the people. But they complained so much and they drove him crazy. I mean, they drove him to uncontrollable anger to the point that, like, he just ended up slaughtering a bunch of people. So yeah. It is just unfortunate that he couldn't see the fruits of his labor, because I definitely think that with everything that he went through, I feel like he really deserved to be there, but it's just, you know, it just wasn't, it was just a terrible situation that happened. It was unfortunate events that happened that made it so he couldn't get to the land of milk and honey. So, yeah. Thank you for watching my video. Like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.